Update 1. Hi all, it's been 2 months since my original post. I'm in my 40th week, just almost about to pop. So, in the aftermath of my last post, I realized that I have been way too tolerant of my husband. After 2 weeks of that incident, I had to go for my scan where Andrew accompanied me. On our way home, I tried to discuss the situation, but he asked me to move on and focus on my health. He was also normal by then. I took it positively that he did not hold on to any grudge, but somewhere I felt his behavior to be secretive. Anyways, today, just this morning, I woke up to see Andrew packing his bags. When I opened my eyes, he was trying to stuff his wedding suit into one of his bags. I shivered at that sight and almost yelled at him, asking him the reason for the packing. He said that he was going to Scotland for his sister's wedding. I was lost for words. I mean, when? How did this happen? I bombarded him with questions. When was the date fixed? Why was I not informed? And on top of that, how could you leave me on my due date? Yes, I'm due tomorrow. He tried his best to dodge the questions or answer them in single syllables. I told him that he just could not avoid me like that. I was angry, hurt, sad, shocked all at the same time. Could you imagine your husband leaving you alone with a toddler during your due date? I can't express more. I won't lie that I was calm. I held his shoulder and nudged him for an answer. He said that it was planned last moment, and he had to go. His sister's would-be in-laws insisted on this particular date and he couldn't do anything about it. Of course, he can do everything about it. He can skip the wedding. Final update. My husband left me to attend his sister's wedding when I was 9 months pregnant, so I ruined her relationship and exposed her lies to everyone. While we were in the middle of this, our doorbell rang. Andrew rushed to answer it as if he was expecting someone. It was his mother. She barged into the house, shouting at Andrew for running late. She dragged his bags outside the room, saying that he didn't need to pack the remaining stuff because whatever was short, they could buy from Scotland. The sentence came as if to mock me. I wanted to smack her head at that moment. When she smirked at me, I realized that it was too late to stop Andrew or fight over it, so I went back to my room, threw the remainder of Andrew's packing bag in the living room, and locked the door. I heard my mother-in-law cursing me at the top of her voice. They left shortly after that. I then realized why Andrew had acted so secretively for the last month, and I was thinking that he was just torn between me and his family. I was in deep pain, both mentally and physically, crying my heart out. The chaos woke up my daughter, Sarah. She came to me, hugged me, and said that I would be fine and I should be excited because we would soon have a baby in the house. Her innocent words melted my heart, and I wrapped her in my arms. We spent the day playing in bed. I tried to keep myself distracted, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get over the fact that Andrew abandoned me in this condition. I am breaking down every now and then. I have called up my sister to stay with me tomorrow because I don't know when my labor will kickstart. I had to make this update today because what happened today is choking me. Wish me a healthy and peaceful labor. Update 2. Hello everybody, I know it has been months since I updated. First of all, I'm blessed with a baby boy. Thank you. So, that day soon after my post, I logged into my Facebook and saw Andrew happily posting pictures of himself and his family enjoying in Scotland. I just couldn't hold back myself and broke down. It was past midnight and Sarah was fast asleep. I went to the washroom and let my emotions flow. I had been holding it throughout the day in front of Sarah. I cried for almost an hour. I was on the verge of fainting when I realized that my water had broken. I somehow crawled to the living room to call the ambulance. I have a very hazy and vague memory of what happened in between. The next thing I remember was being in the ambulance, carried to the hospital. When my condition stabilized, I cried out Sarah's name. The nurse said they found Sarah crying beside me while I was passing in and out of consciousness. As the house was empty, they brought Sarah along with them. The poor soul was sitting in the front with the attendant. I was relieved that my daughter was safe. Within a few minutes of arriving at the hospital, I gave birth to my baby boy. The nurse said they tried to contact my husband, but his number was unavailable. My sister arrived in the early hours of the morning. She lived 120 miles away. When my sister got to know about my situation, she rebuked me for not calling her prior. I thought I had a day. She also asked me to get rid of Andrew ASAP. Since I was discovered in such a situation by the hospital officials, they informed the police. The police asked me if my husband hurt me because they perceived that I was abandoned in that condition. I told them the truth. It was not physical, but mentally and emotionally, yes. Andrew was charged with negligence. His negligence indeed threatened 3 lives, Sarah, my unborn baby, and mine. It gives me chills thinking about what might have gone wrong that day if I couldn't call the ambulance at the right time. I feel so grateful to the Lord that He kept us safe. I was discharged 2 days later. By then, my parents had also arrived. They lived 2,500 miles away. My parents were adamant about suing Andrew and his family for mentally torturing me during my pregnancy. They packed up my stuff from the house while I was still in the hospital. I, too, didn't want to stay with Andrew anymore. Who would want such a kind of husband? After being discharged, I went to my hometown with my parents and sister. It was almost a week after my delivery when Andrew returned home. It appeared from his Facebook activity that they extended their stay after the wedding to explore Scotland. It amazed me to see how stress-free he enjoyed his vacation, unbothered that his wife was due during that period. He didn't even call or text me during that period. I also didn't disturb him because I had planned to ruin him and his family. A week later, when he returned, he found an empty house, legal notice of divorce, and charges pressed by the police. He had a week to appear before the police to give his statement. He panicked, calling me 100 times. I won't lie, I enjoyed the sight of his endless calls and pleading voicemails. Soon, I got calls and voicemails from my mother-in-law begging me to talk to them. I told my parents about it. They called Andrew and asked him to visit our house. He flew down to our house that very day with his mother. My parents humiliated both of them for torturing me and threatened to ruin their lives. Andrew insisted on talking to me in private. He literally begged me for forgiveness and reconciliation. He started emotionally trapping me by saying that our child needs a father too and I shouldn't deprive them of happiness. I asked him the gender of our second child, and he was dead silent. My boy was a week old, but his father didn't know he was born. Do you think a child needs that kind of father? His mother also pleaded for forgiveness, saying that these court cases would damage their reputation in front of their new relatives, my sister-in-law's in-laws. But I didn't care. I just laughed at her reason. Ultimately, when they were asked to leave, they insisted on seeing the newborn, but I didn't want their eyes and shadow on my children. My father chased them out of the house. Meanwhile, I contacted my sister-in-law's new husband on social media. I introduced myself as we had never met. To my surprise, he was also suspicious of Andrew and his family when they kept me aside from the family dinner and the wedding on the excuse of pregnancy. I told him about everything that happened to me. He said he was surprised to find Andrew chilling out during the wedding while leaving his wife in labor. Although it was too late, he asked me about my sister-in-law, and I told the truth about her nature and also about that apple pie thing. He said their behavior was indeed shady, but now it made sense to him. Apparently, my sister-in-law had posed herself to be a chef, and my mother-in-law boasted her lies, saying that they own a chain of restaurants in the countryside. I revealed the truth that his new lovely wife has never even boiled an egg. He called her a gold digger and assured me he would keep our conversation discreet. I told him I wasn't bothered even if he revealed that I had exposed all the truth. In fact, I wanted them to know that it was me. It's been 10 months since that D-Day. My divorce got finalized last week. I got sufficient alimony on the grounds of maternal and child negligence, mental torture during pregnancy, and safety hazards. I got a share in the house too because I had also contributed when we bought that house. I have given the ultimatum of 3 months for Andrew to pay my house share, or else it will be put up for auction. Plus, I got child support too. The interesting part is soon after my conversation with my sister-in-law's husband, I got texts from my sister-in-law accusing me of ruining her life. Later, I got to know that her husband had got an investigation done on my in-law's family background. The truth was revealed that they were not wealthy as they had posed themselves to be, and my sister-in-law had also lied about many things, including her job. As per the information from some of the gossipmonger relatives, the Scotts have sent back Andrew's sister and have filed for a divorce. They have accused her of money laundering. Apparently, she was stealing money from her in-law's locker and sending it to her mother. Her husband labeled her a gold digger because she had already sucked thousands of dollars from him while they were dating. I enjoy this gossip with a sip of wine. I wish the trio, husband, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, a happy gossip life in poverty.